All right. It's showing. All right, Matt, you're
I
up.
see your clock, Matt.
I'm gonna keep that
Well,
in.
Hey everyone, Matt here. It is Wednesday. That is the main event time where we go over our main topics for the week. So if you're watching or listening, this is the meat and potatoes of the episode. If we happen to have any news to discuss as well, that's where we'll talk about it here. For the full episode, check us out on Saturdays. Thanks for watching and listening. Hope you enjoy.
Welcome back to another episode of Stack Your Points. We have an academic version today featuring business cards in which we've all decided to wear glasses and one of us actually understood the assignment. As always, I'm Matt from the Matt Clausen YouTube channel, joined today by Lani from the Call Me Lani channel. Lani, how are you today?
I'm feeling good. It is my 1 year YouTube creator anniversary this week. So it'll be on Thursday, the 26th, will be the exact 12-month mark since I uploaded my first video. So I'm excited about it. Thank you for everyone that has got me through this first year. It ain't been easy. Matt was one of the first people to ever subscribe to my channel. I know RJ jumped in kind of mid-year. Tariq jumped on the bandwagon with me from the get up. So I appreciate these three for sure, but I definitely appreciate every single person that has listened or subscribed or watched one of these videos or one of the videos on my channel. So I'm feeling good this week, Matt.
Excellent. And I know I started following you after, we'll call him friend of the pod. Chad from Chad's Money Minutes was like, hey, you guys got to go check this guy out. Like, he talks about the Sapphire Reserve. And Matt, I know you talk about the Sapphire Reserve. So I was like, okay, cool. Let me go see. So now we're here, which is great. Also joined by RJ from Do You Take Cards? RJ, how are you today?
I'm well. I'm just back from vacation, which is always a nice feeling. Went up to Maine for a little bit of I spent the last days of summer in Maine. So first day of fall, last day of summer. So it was a nice little trip. I don't eat seafood, but the rest of my family does. So I had a lot of chicken tenders because that's what they serve in places that make fish and chips for people who don't eat fish or chips.
Fish, chips, lobster rolls. Yeah.
You don't eat potatoes or you don't eat French fries?
I don't eat French fries made in fryers with fish in them because they always taste like fish.
Ah, okay. Got it. I never heard anyone say they don't eat potatoes before.
So don't go to a chipper with RJ. Got it. And finally, the man who actually understood the assignment for today's episode, Tariq from Reek's Rewards. Mr. Tariq, how are you today?
I'm good. Also feels weird hearing my channel, but I need to start posting. But yeah, felt like sticking to the assignment and felt like being all about business today since we're working with business cards.
The rest of us just decided to be our regular self. So we lean on you for the business doings. Let's move on to our topics of the week. And I'm going to start our topics with RJ, your topic of the week.
So we've talked a little bit about business cards and personal cards and the blurry line between them. As somebody sort of fairly heavily in the Amex ecosystem, one thing I've noticed is there's almost 100% overlap with the offers I get on my business cards and the offers I get on my personal cards. And yeah, like if if you're somebody who wants to buy a suit and you get a Joseph A. Bank offer, which I know there's one right now, and you're going to business meetings, yes, totally can be a business expense, right? But there are ones for like Nut of the Month Club and a bunch of different, food and Paramount Plus is on, I think, my Blue Business Plus right now, right? Like there's a bunch of things that maybe stretch what a business category would be. And do you guys think there's a problem with this? Should there only, quote, be targeted business type offers, the FedEx and different things like that on these cards? I know Chase has offers as well. I'm not as familiar with that because I don't have any Chase business cards, but I imagine other issuers are similar in this way. But do you guys have an issue with this? Do you think, it should be this way? Lani, I will go to you first, Mr. Separate Your Spend.
I hate to say I'm probably going to have a very similar answer again, but I'm probably going to have a very similar answer again. Now, is there a problem with these business cards getting personal offers? I'm going to say no. And the reason why I say no is because in the small subset of, credit card enthusiasts that which we all are a part of, we're the only ones really complaining because outside of that small, concentric circle, well, before we get to the concentric circle, that is that you got to remember that these business cards were made for business. So, like, if someone was actually legitimately getting a business card for that, there's a very slim chance that they're probably going to have a personal card where you're going to see that particular overlap. Now, I don't disagree because if these card companies and issuers are making these cards so easy for us to get, and they're like being so lenient on the rules or what counts as a business to actually get it, then that's just going to kind of exacerbate the problem and exacerbate the population of how many people want to do this or take advantage of it. And we know that the credit card community is growing. More and more people are getting into these types of things. Even as going back to like Keith's question, more and more people now are driving for Ubers and Lyfts and doing Door Dashes and gig economy stuff. We're like, hold on, wait, I can go do this now. So yes, I do see the overlying problem as well, where I can't tell you how many cards I got that got 3x on dining. I can't tell you how many cards that I got that, now have priority pass, a global entry, and all that. I understand those are value benefits or whatnot, but it just keeps overlapping and overlapping and overlapping. Where is it a problem to the banks and the issuers? No, it's not a problem because they're not. It doesn't cost any more because RJ's one person. I'm going to say RJ has one bank account. So it's like, I don't care if you use card A or card B, it's still coming out the same bank. You're not buying the same thing twice. For us, it is a problem. And I feel the same way as you, where I don't like it, where I see overlapping bonus categories. I see overlapping value. I see overlapping benefits. And it's like, I think one of the biggest questions that I get is, what card am I going to get next? And sometimes I'm like, I don't know. Because what else am I going to get that I already don't got? What value am I going to get that I already don't have? What else am I going to get next that I already don't have? So, in short, is it a problem? Depends on which way you look at it. For us as a consumer, on the consumer side of the street, it's a problem. But for the business, the banks, the issuers that are issuing the cards, it's not a problem. I don't see them trying to solve it anytime soon unless we stop applying for cards. And we all know that ain't going to happen. So I know that wasn't a real answer, but it's the best thing I can give you.
No, I think it's a good one. I think the wall between business and personal for the issuers is thinning. Like, they know legally what they have to do, right? But I think if they can get consumers to put more consumer spend on business cards, they're the ones that make out. We're not the ones that make out in that deal. Because as a sole proprietor, technically anything you do kind of sort of is in furthering your business. And I'm not a lawyer, nor am I an accountant. So don't listen to me when it comes to doing your taxes, but it muddies the water when you're a sole prop. So it becomes this situation where, if I got the offer for adding, an employee to this card and they spend $2,000 and I get, 20,000 points or whatever, cool, we'll go and do, a trip or whatever. But technically I'm putting that on a business card. So technically I should do, X, Y, and Z, but will I? Maybe, maybe not. Right. And will whoever else gets it, maybe they don't even technically have a business. They're, selling on eBay or whatever. And they're not actually, they bought one thing off of eBay to say that they bought something and, go on with their life. So yeah, it concerns me. I share that concern. Tariq, Do you share Lonnie and my concern with this sort of situation of overlapping offers and different things like that?
I won't necessarily say it's a problem per se. I do kind of find it odd. Like it's a little weird. And I don't know. I feel like, personally having Chase business cards and also personal cards, I feel like I don't like it might to an extent kind of be intentional. It's almost like we know that some of you have businesses and you're going to use business spend. Perfect example, I signed up for Factor and with my Freedom Flex did the Chase shopping, and I got like an $8 credit for signing up for Factor. I just happen to go look at my Chase offers right now on my Inc. Business Unlimited, and I have the same offer for Factor. Um, Not sure if I'm like why. Maybe I'm just going to be a generous boss and make sure my employees got like healthy lunches on deck. I don't know. Uh, Another example is I have a Long John Silver's credit. If I'm taking my employees for a company lunch to Long John Silver, I can only imagine how low my rating on Glassdoor would be. Same with like Bird. I don't know like for businesses that are using Bird scooters to ride around downtown versus, an Uber, Lyft, taxi, or, for most businesses like a rental car. So I feel like these bank issuers are just throwing them out there because they know that the people that are getting business cards a lot of the times, especially the ones that are point earning cards, they're using it for personal spend and they just really don't care to an extent because at the end of the day, they're going to get their money at regardless. So if you're going to do it, great. If not, who cares? It doesn't really affect them. And who knows? Maybe they can just say they have the offers just to say if they have the offers, and someone with that business spend isn't going to use it because they're not going there. It's not something that applies to their business. So
Now I really want a hush puppy. That's
I,
what
I was
that
gonna say the same thing. I was like, those Long John Silver hush puppies, though.
yeah, they're really good.
there are better seafood options in better places where you can get good hush puppies versus Long John Silvers.
Okay, I live in
Look,
New York.
sometimes you just want a Whopper, so you go to Burger King. Tariq, don't take away our hush puppies. All
Who
right.
goes to get a Whopper? Never mind.
I'll jump in and say Whoppers are the superior burger in terms of McDonald's and Burger King. Because
Absolutely.
not everybody has a Whataburger. Not everybody has In-N-Out. Not everybody has the things that started in Texas.
Everybody has a Burger King.
Yes. I will say though, now I want hush puppies, but now I want hush puppies from Cookout.
God, I wish I
Matt,
had a cookout in Texas. The one time I was in North Carolina and I had a cookout, and it was just so convenient getting whatever I wanted at like 2 o'clock in the morning. It was good.
Yeah. I'm gonna take your regional and just up it to 11 for no reason. Sorry.
Matt, what do you think about personal offers on business credit cards?
Um, so I think this is definitely something that it's going to be on the American Express side. It's going to be on the Chase side. It's going to be on Bank of Deals because Bank of Deals and Chase pretty much use the same provider for these offers. I There are ways that like if you have the ink unlimited or you have the ink cash, you could equivocate to yourself, oh well, this Quince purchase will make my business better because I can purchase bedding that will make me sleep better, that makes me a better performer in my business. Like you can do a lot of mental gymnastics to try and do that. I don't necessarily love it, but it's also giving this false sense the issuer doesn't care. Chase doesn't care at the end of the day. American Express doesn't care at the end of the day. Like, they want you to spend, and they'll actually prioritize you putting these personal offers on your business cards and pay with your business card, not necessarily so that they can reject you when you say, "Hey, I need to do a chargeback," but because business cards. One thing we didn't cover in basics, business cards actually earn the bank more on every time you swipe. So their interchange fee is higher, and they're more like, Chase is willing to hand out ink cards like crazy and like candy, because they make more money with every swipe that you do. So your ink unlimited swipe costs you, the merchant that you're swiping with, more than your freedom unlimited swipe. So Chase is all for putting all of these personal things on. I don't think that they necessarily care about the back end thing. If something happens with your purchase and you're dissatisfied, they can they can just say, tough, you owe us whatever you owe us. But they're more interested in the front end swipe money first before they're going to worry about, what spend you're putting from nuts.com or Quince, or if I'm going to go spend, I've got offers for MAC Cosmetics right now, Shiseido, Elizabeth Arden, and Aveda, whatever. That's all on my Ink Cash. I've got similar offers on my Ink Unlimited. They don't care if I'm going to buy Fubo TV on my Ink Cash or the Washington Post on the Ink Cash. They're going to give me the offer, and they're going to pocket their money. And if I have a problem with it, like, I have less recourse, but Chase doesn't care at the end of the day. Like, Chase wants their cut. And so, since they get a bigger cut on my ink cards as opposed to if I had freedom cards, they're going to be happier with that than me having a problem with my purchase. So for them, it's all win, because they can get the swipe. And then if you have an issue, they're well within their right, due to how business lending works as opposed to personal lending. They're well within their right to just straight out deny you. So now they're getting your money regardless. So do I think it's a problem? I think you should be judicious with whatever offers are on your card. Like, if you have the Chase in Cash, that gets 5% at office supply stores. You have an offer on Office Depot, go stack your percentage off plus the 5 points per dollar that you're going to get on the in cash. That I have no problem with. But if you have the in cash where it's 1% and like you're going to make a MAC Cosmetics purchase, maybe don't put that on the in cash. If you have a personal Chase card, go with that. If you have the Freedom Unlimited and you want that protection for that purchase, you're going to have the exact same offer on the Freedom Unlimited that you're going to have on the Ink Unlimited. So just make that purchase on the Freedom Unlimited. I don't think it's great. I understand where it comes from on the bank side of things, but I think that you have to be as Chad's Money Minutes likes to say, a more discerning credit card user. And if you want to have that offer and you're worried about any potential concerns with it, use the right card. Food is food. Like, I'm going to use the food offer. I don't care. Business meeting. MAC Cosmetics, I'm going to use a different card. I don't know why I'm singling out MAC Cosmetics specifically, but like, yeah, I'm just going to go with that.
Hey, if you got to get your eyeshadow, man, you got to re-up if you need to.
JD Vance ain't got nothing on me.
Little known fact for the viewers, Matt actually doesn't have a beard. That's all makeup that he puts on right before he films.
The gray is really hard. It's the most time consuming.
Maybe we'll get some behind the scenes in the pre-show once we get to membership status, and you can see Matt put on his makeup beard, because it is a very thorough application that we are very intrigued to see.
All right, RJ, thanks for that topic. Let's move over to Lani, your topic of the week.
Don't mind if I do. So, in my topic this week, not trying to reiterate or bring anything else back up, but we kind of talked about this earlier. But our credit card enthusiasts ruining business cards for real business owners. Now, as RJ had just mentioned in her last question, we're seeing a lot of duplicate stuff where um, you might see same bonus categories, you might see same benefits, you might see same value. Those types of things are getting repeated, but at the same time, more and more people are beginning to adopt business cards for their strategies. Nothing wrong with it. The banks know what's happening. We definitely know what's happening. But what I mean is, will that will the banks and issuers nerf it? Will they start changing things to create some separation between the personal applications and the business applications? I.e., um, let's talk about value or benefits. Let's talk about annual fee. Like we already see, like Amex has a very large gap between annual fees between business and personal. We would see other issuers start adopting it, nerf it, or maybe even start putting rules behind it the same way like we have Chase with their 524, where they're like, look, man, you only get to hold 2, 3 business cards at a time. Do you think they're going to nerf it? So my question is, are we as the credit card enthusiasts ruin it for business cards as a whole, or the real business card, the people that need the real business cards for their actual businesses? Tariq, I'm going to jump into you first.
So I'll be honest, I don't think that Chase, American Express, Input, bank of your choice necessarily cares that much at the moment because they're still getting money out of it. Now they might have a thing like American Express where they're going to start catering more towards business type spending, like we talked about when the Hilton Honors business, how they had their changes in people in the credit card community, whether they had businesses or not, said that the card was nerfed, when in reality it was more catered towards business spend. I don't think that issuers are going to nerf or change things unless a higher power gets involved. And it's usually something that involves 3 letters. If the government comes and starts saying, and specifically the IRS, where they're like, hey, these cards need to be for businesses only, not any of these masquerading businesses that are just using personal transactions to earn rewards. I think that's the only time we'll see any monumental change, is when the government's going to get involved. Because, like we mentioned, Chase and Amex are going to get higher interchange fees on every swipe on a business card versus a personal card. They're going to issue out more credit limit for you to spend more. They're going to have reduced consumer protections because it's a business. So if something were to go wrong, tough break, you owe us the money. I don't think there's much incentive to change that unless the bottom line is being affected.
I don't disagree. And I do agree with the part of the banks are going to get theirs, the issuers are going to get theirs. We already see it. Sorry, RJ, but Amex is the leader in this. Where, I mean, 15K spend, let's call it what it is. They know what they're doing. Matt said it. They get paid more on business swipes than they do on personal swipes. You want this? Go ahead and get it. But we're gonna double your spend requirement.
I bet you want those points.
How bad you want those points. And the same thing is the Amex Platinum card, and this happened this year, not even just this summer, a couple of months ago, where it used to be on the business side, like 175 was high. And then the personal hit 175 as its all-time high. And then 2 weeks later, you start seeing 250 and 300 hit that business Amex Platinum. So, like you had mentioned, if you can have these points if you want them, but I hope you got that 15K. I mean, you asking neighbors like, yo, you got something you need to buy? You can pay me back. Like 15K is 15K. I don't care how much money you got in the bank. 15K is 15K. Period. End of story. All right. Matt, where are you at on this question and topic this week?
So I don't think that credit card enthusiasts are necessarily ruining business cards for real businesses. I think that there's plenty of folks who will open business cards who are, obviously starting restaurants, starting retail stores, starting the small mom and pop shops. And they're leveraging what business credit they have, what they can, whether it's business credit cards, business lines of credit, business loans, whatever they're choosing to do. I do think that the credit card companies are aware of the hyper enthusiasts and will put out catnip for them, like that 300,000 offer on 20,000 spend in 3 months on the business platinum, or the continual like, oh, here's the Chase Ink Unlimited, and twice a year, that there's 2 windows a year where it's going to raise to 90,000 points, and you want to time your application for that so that you hit that 90,000, or you apply close enough to the suspected 90,000 so that when it goes up to 90,000, you can just send Chase a message. Hey, when I hit the minimum spend requirement for this card, can I get matched to the 90,000? And Chase will match you no matter, like, Chase has no problem matching you. American Express just says tough. And some of the other issues would just say, this is what we got. So I don't think that credit card enthusiasts are ruining it for real business owners. I'm not 100% sure how many real business owners leverage credit cards versus business loans or business lines of credit to get things started. Maybe there should be more owners opening cards potentially, or maybe they know that cards aren't their best bet. Do I think that issuers will nerf things? I think issuers could find a way to limit the number of cards that you can apply for on your social security number, because if you're applying as a sole prop, you have to give them that social security number, and if you have an EIN, okay, that's one thing. So like one of the things that Chase can do to close the loophole is, you can't open 4 inks in a year on the same social security number. You can't open 4 inks in a year on the same EIN. Like, at least show us that you're opening a second business if you're trying to get more credit from us on a different business, right? Like, we all potentially have the ability to open business cards not only on our personal channels, but now the podcast at some point. Potentially, not saying we're going to, but that could be a different application process, because we'll probably put a different structure of the business for the podcast as opposed to what we're doing on our own with our own channels. So like, there can definitely be ways that the issuers could choose to turn things off if they so choose. I don't think Chase cares. I think Chase would much rather issue business credit cards than personal credit cards, with the exception of Sapphires and their co-brands. I think American Express is fine with issuing whatever card anyone wants to sign up for whenever they want, as long as they sign up for 4 to 6 credit cards and up to 10 charge cards, whatever their internal rules are. Like, they don't really care how you do it. So I could see issuers nerfing things, but you're going to see like a regional bank nerf things before you see Chase or American Express or potentially Wells Fargo, because I've heard you can churn their business card. So like, Huntington will shut you down. Fifth Third Bank will shut you down. Santander will shut you down. Truist will shut you down. Random Bank in Texas will shut you down. Chase doesn't care. American Express doesn't care. Capital One, I don't know their underwriting on the business side, and personally, I don't want to. Citi has no business cards with the exception of the Advantage business card for American Airlines and their Costco cards. So like, Citi's not even a factor in this decision right now, in this conversation right now. So I think for now, enthusiasts are fine, but there are certainly strategies and levers that Chase and American Express explicitly could pull and stop things dead in their tracks if they want to. But this makes them too much money.
I like how you broke that down. There was some really
Thank you.
strong. There was some strong examples right there, specific and also strong.
I try.
I was actually taking notes, but it makes a whole lot of sense right there. RJ,
So, do I think the issuers will nerf it? I'm going to take that one first. No, because it makes them money. And Chase cares about you making them money because you are their product. Like at the end of the day, us using their cards and paying our bills, or just paying a little bit of interest, not like all of the interest where we're not paying our bills, but just like paying them some interest. That makes the money. That's what they want, right? Like they want us healthy enough that we can continue to pay them. But if we have a balance that we carry over a couple times a year, they'd be okay with that because they're going to get their interest and they like that, right? Like so for them, this is a great deal. Now, do I think that we're ruining it? No, but I think we're forever changing it because if we keep using them and the subs get higher, for us it's great, right? 300 I got a sub for the business platinum, 250,000 points, right? I'm redoing part of my house. I need to spend a lot of money. So for me, right now it's great, right? It's going to construction costs. I get 1.5 times on the platinum for that, right? I'm making out great. But if I'm a small business and 5 years ago, it was, say, $10,000 to spend on the business platinum to get, 150,000 points, I got to spend a whole lot more now. And maybe my business isn't going to hit that, or it's going to just miss that. And now those points that I could have gone to some conference for my profession, I don't have anymore, right? Like, so I do think we're changing how credit cards work for businesses or for people who are not in the game. Just the way we're changing it on the personal side for people who are not heavily in the game, but are now having to deal with our shenanigans where there are multi-tiered, subs and there are things like that because the banks do have to put up some barriers now and then to sort of flow us in the direction they want to flow us, right? So I think we are changing the game. I don't necessarily think I would categorize it as ruining it, but I do think businesses now, if you do want a credit card, if you are a business, if you're doing certain things, it's not just you competing against other businesses or you looking at what other businesses are doing. You're looking at a bunch of people who do content creation on YouTube as the people who are giving you your knowledge for business cards. And that is different than in the past, right? Like if you're a business, you can turn into most of our channels and business cards have come up either in a what's in my wallet or us talking about it or say some tidbits where occasionally a business card may pop its ugly head up, right? Like we'll talk about them and we'll talk about them on this podcast and we'll, continue to do so and we'll all use them, right? So I think that how they get their information on cards, I think how those cards function, like there are a lot of features on cards now that there didn't used to be because issuers have to keep putting them on to entice people like us to get them. So we'll keep spending, so they'll get the higher swipe fees. So now you're putting a bunch of goodies on a card that doesn't really need the goodies for the businesses because they need to impress us. Like it becomes a cycle of change, constant adjustments in the market that if it was you actually have to file business taxes and you have to have 10,000 in revenue to get a business card, something like that, the flow would be very, very different. So I think we're changing them forever, but ruining I think is too strong of a word.
I can agree with that. Ruining might be too strong of a word. And I like the way that you say that we are changing it. But at the same time, my only 2 cents, and y'all can quote me later, come back to me, say I was right or I was wrong. I also agree with Matt. I can see it could be in like, yo, you got to calm down on these ink applications. I think the ink train is eventually going to stop for the night at the next station. So get it while you got it, folks. I think that one's about to, within the next 12 months, it's going to slow down a little bit. All right. That's all. That's everyone except for myself. But I've already said my 2 cents there. So let's move on.
Yep. Just real quick, I will close one Ink Unlimited. I'll probably open another Ink Unlimited, not in this quarter, but yeah, at some point I'm going to get one more, but I don't plan on doing much more than that. So, just let me on the car one last time. Tariq, your topic, because I have to rethink mine a little bit because mine and Lonnie's kind of coincided. So Tariq, take it away.
Will do. All right. So, since the beginning of this episode, we have differentiated between people who have legitimate businesses owning cards and the credit card enthusiasts who say they have businesses so they can get extra sign-up bonuses. One thing about business cards that was mentioned was the fact that it doesn't report to personal credit, which is great if you are somebody that likes getting a bunch of Chase cards, because it doesn't apply to 524, which is why a term that is used a lot in the credit card space is used specifically for business cards, gardening. Another thing that I mentioned in the car that gets a lot of hate, where it could be good for a business, being the Spark Business Cash cards, are because those cards report to personal credit as well. So I bring that up to say, would business cards get as much love from the credit card community, the enthusiasts that have businesses, if those business cards reported to personal credit? Because I'm looking at the last 3 cards that I opened were all Chase business cards. And I'll be honest, if those cards were to one day pop up on my credit report, I'd be at 724 and I'd be pretty much at a Chase for a while. I'd have to go with RJ to Amex or something, or because even Wells Fargo would probably screw me out. So I want to see where we stand on that. And Lani, since you are Mr. Separate business and personal spend when it comes to business cards, let's start with you.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have a really quick answer on here. So if it reported to your personal credit bureau, heck yeah, it would be a completely different ball game, because I think everybody in here would be like at a credit score under 600 with all the hard inquiries and all the stuff, the credit utilizations. Well, actually, I'd be a little bit more positive, but chances are you probably have 12 cards and using 2 or 3 of them, which makes it look like you're not using any cards on, it's ones and zeros on your credit report. I 100% think it'll be a completely different game in how we approach these business cards if it did affect your personal credit side the same way that a personal credit does. And I'm not going to say a business card doesn't. It can. You can get a hard inquiry on a business side. It can affect your credit, especially if you don't pay. They're going to find you and you're going to get your money. You already gave them your social security number, your address, your name, and your mom's maiden name. They're going to find you. They're going to put it in there, and they're going to get you on your credit report. But I think that the only reason why people lean into the business cards is, as you had mentioned, like there's Chase 524. It's like I can't get any more personal cards, so like with Chase, so let me go get business cards. Or maybe I did a little too much. I went a little too heavy at the top of the year, so let me get business cards to make it look like I'm getting a little bit lighter at the end of the year. But if all of this was the same, oh yeah, it would be completely different. I mean, think about it. If we just took business cards out of the equation, we couldn't live the way that we are. You just said you applied for 3 different cards. You wouldn't been able to do that if they were all personal cards. So yeah,
Nope, not at all.
it's instantly going to change the game. And then at the same time, like I said, your personal credit score is not just about hard inquiries. And I applied for a new account. I applied for a new card. Tariq, you mentioned you're the youngest one out of the 4 of us. You probably haven't bought a house yet. You probably haven't bought a luxury car yet. You might still have student loans for all I know. I don't know everything about your life, but if you didn't have business cards, you are shooting yourself in the foot.
12 gauge, baby.
You might as well go ahead and sign up for your built card because you're gonna be renting for a while, bro.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, like I said, I'm gonna have a quick answer. It'll 100% change the game and the way that we engage with these types of cards if business reported on the personal side or business didn't exist and everything was personal. I like my credit score. I'm doing my best to keep it as high as possible. Am I 850? No, but I'm above 800. Yes. And I do not want to hurt that because it is that important. You know, your credit score is more important than the amount of money you got in your bank account. You can quote me if you want, and you can debate me in the comments if you really, really want, but it's going to be a short argument. Let's just call it what it is. So that's my final answer. Yes, it'll be a completely different game, and people will be looking at them way differently.
Surprised to get the short answer from Lonnie, even though it was still not that short, but I know what to expect with the great Lonnie answers.
Shorter. I
Fair enough.
like to hit them and then elaborate, define, and then bring it all back.
There's a reason why I like your answers. I like the
You've
detail.
seen my
in them.
videos. That's the structure.
Well, like I said, if I had $1 for every time I've seen your original United Explorer video, I'd probably be getting more revenue share than you. Anyway, RJ, so with that topic of business cards reporting to personal, would you have gotten your business platinum or any of your other business cards? I know you had the business gold because I know you've mentioned 524. Would you have swing more in those business cards had they reported to personal credit?
I don't care about 524. So there's that. I am the least of all of us, I'm the least chase enjoying of of all of us. Would I have gotten them? I probably wouldn't have been approved for them, to be completely honest, right? Like the rules of how to get approved for cards are different on the business and the personal side. So do I think Amex would have approved me for the cards I got? No. Would I have gotten the cards I got? No, because the gold and the platinum and the business gold and the business platinum are too alike for me to have wanted to double up. So no, I wouldn't have. Do I think they would have gotten as much love in general? No, but I think there are some business cards that are good, like solidly good cards. There are just so much less of them than we would give credit for, if not for, staying off of our personal credit reports, right? Like that is the magic trick. But there are cards like the business platinum, the 35% points reduction, you get 35% of your points back on award flights through the Amex portal, for example. Like that is something you don't see on the personal platinum, right? Like if that is something that is important to you, then the business platinum could be a card that you like because of that, right? Like there are certain things on business cards that you just don't see on the personal side that could be something you really like. That might be worth it to you if it did still report to your personal credit. I think the problem is that because it doesn't, it makes the card more valuable. And because it's more valuable, we inflate the overall card standing, right? So yeah, I think it becomes this, it has this superpower. So how can you not like it? Because it has this superpower, but it has this superpower for a whole other set of reasons than we ever talk about. And those reasons are because it's for businesses. And in the United States of America, per our laws, everybody can be a sole proprietor. Like, that is how we've set up our system. The problem is in that system, there are certain things that Americans don't understand because we are not the most financially literate people on the planet. So it becomes more fraught than I think a lot of people realize because of that. So would I have gotten the 4 business cards if they were personal? for a variety of reasons, the only answer I can give is no. Do I think we would love business cards as much if they reported to personal? Only answer I can possibly give that is honest is no.
Yeah, it's amazing how much we inflate the value of these cards solely because of it not reporting to personal credit, and we can play the game and earn points, because if not, be a lot more people sitting on their hands and waiting. Because that was me when I was patiently waiting to get into 524, because I didn't want to dabble with business cards at first before jumping into certain discords and getting the confidence for that. Matt, I know you have mentioned the ink train before. If that was all reporting to personal credit, how quick would have that train derailed for you?
I'm barely on the ink train. Like, I have two inks, but they were spaced apart in terms of when I applied for them. One was September of last year, the other one was July. So I'm not on the ink train in the get an ink a quarter or get multiple inks a quarter that some others have more success doing. Would them reporting to business, would that affect me? No, because I'm looking to, build up the channel, and at some point, we're going to be looking to build up the podcast as well. So reporting to personal credit, the utilization part could hurt. Definitely could hurt. In terms of what my overall utilization would be based off of the amount of business credit that I've successfully applied for and the amount of personal credit that I have, I'd still be in a healthy percentage. I'd have a couple of cards that would be throwing things off a little bit with my numbers there. I'm still paying everything on time. I'm still, dotting my I's, crossing my T's where I need to, carrying over balances on 0%. Like, I'm still being fairly responsible. I think the thing that would kill it more would be if the ink train didn't produce UR points, or produce the sort of UR points that the ink premier does. Because if you couldn't take your ultimate reward points from your ink unlimited and move them over to your Sapphire Reserve or your Sapphire Preferred, you'd have no reason to apply for the card. So I think if business cards had a different requirement for redemption, we would lose, the love that we have for the credit card community, would lose the love that it has for applying for business cards. If it was something like, you could only redeem your points earned on the Chase Ink Unlimited into a Chase Business checking account. Now you got to set up the Chase Business checking account. You've got to put your points redeem into the Chase Business checking account. You're only going to be able to redeem at 1 cent per point. And it's like, okay, now I had a $900 bonus on the Ink Unlimited, put it in my Chase Business checking account, immediately move that out to my Chase personal account or another personal account, and then like bought the points that I wanted to do. Now that's an extra step of complexity that nobody wants to deal with. So do I think that if we put business cards on personal, that it would prevent people from applying for business cards? No, I think there's business cards that are definitely worth applying for, especially as you're trying to build a business. A simple 1.5% or 2% business card makes a lot of sense if you're trying to grow your business and you're going to go about things legitimately. If you're going about things in a business sense, maybe not the best, but I think, if cards issuers wanted to short circuit things, they wouldn't worry about putting it on our personal credit scores. They would just change the way that you could redeem things, because that would be well within their right. And, and I'm going to use the ink train here, but like, if the Signify Cash, you could only redeem the Signify Cash into a Wells Fargo business account and in $25 increments. Nobody would care about the Signify Cash. Very few people care about the Signify Cash as is, it feels. Same would be true for the US Bank leverage card. Same would be true for the US Bank Altitude Power I mentioned earlier. Same would be true for any of the US Bank cards, any other business card. So if the issuers decided to take your business rewards and not allow you to pull them into personal, that would be the break that would turn everything off in the community. I don't think that reporting to personal credit is necessarily a deal breaker. I do think that changing the reward structure would be a bigger break than doing things on the personal side.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the reward structure, and yeah, that would basically shut everybody up in the community about business cards because
I'd be out
I
the
mean,
game.
yeah, I wouldn't have 3 business cards if that was the case. Maybe the co-branded cards, but
Yeah,
I wouldn't have any inks for that reason.
Co-brands
yeah,
would probably be different, but
yeah. Keith, where do I sign that petition for the ink reserve?
All I'm going to say in the close up my topic is I think the credit card community, to an extent, takes the business cards and the earning possibilities and the redemptions. We take that a little for granted because should that just stop, it would be chaos.
well, we would just stop talking about them and stop pushing referral codes for them, probably.
Links in the
Yeah,
description.
yeah, it's day one. It's more the day one of like all the reaction videos and seeing the types of thumbnails where it's like credit business cards are officially dead. That's what I'm referring to. And then, after a month, no one talks about business cards anymore.
I wouldn't even get 2 minutes into one of those videos, but we can put links in our description.
We
I wasn't
can.
aware. Ooh, tasty. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, I do think business cards on personal, no big deal. Takeaway rewards, bigger deal.
See, I link to you. You can put whatever you want, Matt. That's how this works.
Okay, works for me. All right, so we're gonna finish with my topic. As I said, it sort of coincides with Lani's, but here's what I wrote initially. Issuers struck gold with travel hacking's discovery of business cards, and it probably ruined everything for advanced credit card players. Um, and then I put in parentheses as a bit of hyperbole and the game in general. But my thesis here sort of was once travel hacking and the blogosphere and then later the YouTube community kind of discovered the ability to leverage business cards to grow their rewards accounts, um, and in whatever means they do, like it took away the incentive for the issuers to really pay any attention to their personal cards. And once again, I like to beat up on Chase with this one. Chase would rather you sign up for Ink Unlimiteds than do anything to the Freedom cards. Chase would more likely want you to sign up for the Ink Preferred than the Sapphire Preferred. And if they were going to produce an Ink Reserve, they would want you to sign up for that card over the Sapphire Reserve because business spend will net them more money. The fact that the ink train is as loose and wild and potential to be derailed with how quickly it runs from station to station, bad metaphor, sorry, but the fact that the ink train is as giving as it is limits gives Chase all the ability to not pay attention to the freedom cards. Like I make videos that complain about the freedom cards as cards that really aren't worth having on the personal side when you can get an ink card that does exactly the same thing as the Freedom Unlimited and an ink card that gives you better 5% return more consistently than the Freedom Flex, when the Freedom Flex has a quarter that, experts know how to manipulate very well, and maybe novices will look at it and go, charities, McDonald's, what am I supposed to do here? Just using quarter four as an example. So I think that the discovery of what business cards can do and the turnability of business cards and the ability to like run the ink train instead of your regular spend being on a Freedom Unlimited or Freedom Flex and your higher rate of return to get those aspirational vacations, I think that kind of just messed up personal cards. I may be wrong, and I'm welcome to any of my co-hosts telling me I'm wrong, but I do think that the discovery of business cards kind of just ruined your ability to get better personal cards to a certain extent. RJ, if you'd like to tell me I'm wrong, I'm all ears.
So I think that you're right. I think that business cards have done more harm to personal cards than personal cards have done to business cards, or people who are using business cards for personal spend have done. Almost for the exact reasons you're saying, because companies can let their personal cards languish a bit because they do have the business cards, right? Like Amex doesn't have a ton of pressure on them directly to make a 2x MR point earning card because they have the Blue Business Plus. 0 annual fee, really easy to use card, not much to it, 2x everything, right? Partly the reason I got it. So it's one of those things where there's no 2x MR point earning card. Like there isn't. There isn't even a 1.5 that is actually 1.5 unless there's the everyday preferred, but you have to have 30 transactions in a billing cycle. So if you get 29, you don't get the extra boost, right? So it becomes this thing of personal cards have changed because of how people use business cards. Now, whether that was actually plotted out by the credit card companies or just sort of how things have shaken out, I don't think it's super plotted out, but you know, the banks are smart enough to follow the trends, right? They sort of, I think, could tell what was going to happen. So I do think personal cards have been more harmed. But I also don't think there's any way to put that cat back in the bag. Like unless the banks kind of take a hit in a weird way and make the personal cards better and more functional and yet less user hostile, there's not a great way to fix it. I mean, an individual issuer might right? Like if Bank of America or US Bank or whoever say, we're going to have 7 cards and they're all going to be cohesive and they're all going to work together. And if you get all 7 of them, you can have everything you need without having to go to another issuer. They could do that, right? They could absolutely do that. But Amex isn't going to follow that, and Chase isn't going to follow that, and the other issuers won't either, right? So it becomes this thing of like one bank might do it of a certain percentage of the size, but the rest won't. But if you look at the business card offerings, they tend to be more cohesive because they're a smaller number, right? Like no issuer has more business cards than they do personal cards. Like Amex doesn't, Chase doesn't, Wells Fargo doesn't, US Bank doesn't. Maybe there is some random issuer that I'm not thinking of, but by and large, you have more personal cards than you do business cards. So you can have a more cohesive lineup in your business cards. So I do think that personal cards have been harmed, and I'm using air quotes for those listening to us on the podcast feed because of how we use business cards, but there's no real way to fix it industry-wide unless something catastrophic happens on the business side. Something catastrophic happens on the business side, less people are going to have credit cards, or they're going to consolidate into maybe 1 or 2 cards, which means swipe fees go down, which means the banks aren't going to touch business cards because they don't want their swipe fees to go down because they don't want to lose that money. So nobody has an incentive to change. And in fact, we have incentives to spend more on business cards. So they're going to make it easier to get and less of a pain point if you, quote, don't have a business. So it's a giant ball of web and interconnected parts, and the aorta is connected to the jugular, and we're all on life support.
For Spathco and Spathco alone, it's a giant pile of what's it. And for everyone
I'm
else on
gonna
the
need you to
podcast,
check that anatomy.
it's a reference. It's a very niche reference. Let's go to Lani. Your thoughts on this topic?
So I'm gonna go ahead and repeat that what RJ had mentioned a few questions ago is ruin might be the wrong word. But coming from, letters of a travel hacker. Ooh, that might be a good title for you, RJ. Just FYI. Save that. Coming from my letters of a travel hacker here. Personal cards capped. And this is very similar to what RJ was just mentioning. But the personal cards, like when it comes to us as travel hackers or travel strategists, whatever you want to call it, us enthusiasts, we probably, every single one of us, our first credit card was not a business card. We started off personal. The second one was probably personal. The third one was probably personal. The fourth one might have been a business card. Maybe. Matt's shaking his head. No, it was still personal. Matt's taking this personally, y'all. Anyway, the thing is that when you think of the bonus categories, the value that you get, and I had mentioned this earlier, is that you start getting capped. Stuff starts repeating. Like you have 3 cars that have dining on it. You got 4 cars that have gas on them in some way, shape, or form. Or, I'm just being facetious here. But eventually you get so many that it's like, I have 1 card that does X, 1 card that does Y, 1 card that does Z, because you have so many cards and you're trying to get the most value. And eventually you hit the ceiling. And the only way to get out of that ceiling, the only way to move forward is the business cards. So I say that to go back to your question is everything ruined for the advanced credit card players or the game in general? No, but you're right. Issuers did strike gold for those that wanted to play the game with business cards because it's a twofer, really, because you got business people actually getting business cards and using them for business, or you got people that are just, gaming the system and still getting business cards. And on the issuer side, it's a win-win. They win no matter what. They win when you apply. They win when you pay, swipe it. They win when you pay. They win when you don't pay. So yeah, it's like, as RJ said, it's like, get all this stuff out there. Go ahead, get more. Like I said, Ink Train. I still say it's going to get nerfed because too many people are taking advantage of it. Anthony Venture's out there doing it right now. Love you, AV, but you're out there doing it right now. You're going to nerf it. We know how, his track record. Eventually, I think even the business aspect, we're going to hit a plateau. That's going to get capped as well. And there's going to be a new way or something new for us to uncover, flip a rock over and see what's underneath, flip that couch cushion and see an extra $1.50 under there. And which is going to bring like this third tier of travel hackery into the game. But did it ruin the game? No, it enhanced it. And it's like, are you a novice? Are you a noob? Are you mediocre? Or are you a pro? And most of us, of course, the ones that me and my 3 co-hosts right here, all of us have been doing this except for Tariq, because Tariq's so young. So he's the only one that hasn't been doing this for years. But he went from 0 to 100 really fast. I gotta give credit where credit is due. The dude wrote his playbook out and executed beautifully. And he followed a lot of my tips and tricks. So I gotta really respect him. I can't be mad at him for what he's done. But anyway, I don't think the game is ruined. I don't think business cards are a bad thing. I think once you kind of get in the game and you got your personal card set up, you have a good understanding of how to manipulate and how to use it for your own personal strategy. Business cards is a natural form, a natural next step to get folded into it that they take advantage of until you plateau again. And then we'll find something else. Matt hates it when I bring it up, but PayPal's coming in strong, Matt. I'm expecting more from PayPal in the near future. 2025. People are going to be talking about PayPal. I can kind of see it coming.
Are you talking about the PayPal debit, or are you talking about PayPal as a 5% category in the Freedom Flex?
I think I think PayPal its own independent. So bringing back the debit card for one, I think it's kind of smart. But then all the new offers. So even if I don't use my debit card and I just pay online with PayPal, those types of rewards, cashback offers, or whatever they happen to be from different retailers or through PayPal directly, is going to be incredibly lucrative. Where you're like, oh, we put it like this: we talk about stacking points. We're gonna probably be stacking cash back, where it's like, you know what, cash back actually works, and I'm gonna extra 5% when I pay with PayPal.
Just more mobile wallet.
Yep,
Mobile wallet category.
that is a
That's all I
topic
need.
for a different day. I really want banks to incentivize mobile wallet.
Yep. No, absolutely.
You and about everybody in our Discord, Lani.
Not all mobile wallet though. We don't need 17 different mobile wallets. We can stick with like the Apple Pay and the Samsung Pay and whatever Google has.
Oh, you know, Amex is going to make their own Amex Pay, and you have to use it. You know it,
Do I
RJ.
have to like put in a fleck of gold to use it? Because I love Amex, but
You got
sometimes
to put in a Buffalo nickel to get started. So good luck.
I already see it now. It's just gonna be called Centurion Pay.
And after steering us into a right-hand turn into Albuquerque, Tariq, your thoughts on the issuer striking gold?
That was a
Maybe
good
not.
tangent, by the way.
Yeah, no, it was a great one. Your thoughts on this last topic?
Issuers not only struck gold, but they also found diamonds with the credit card community and business card spending and rewards. Because for all previous points mentioned, and this is coming from the guy who has the altar to Jamie Dimon, that I'm not going to say where, but if you throw in the credit card community, you could throw a rock and you can hit somebody who has complained that Chase does not have a permanent fixed gas or grocery multiplier. But I'll say this, you know what remedy, it kind of helps remedy that? Being able to churn inks and earn 75 to 90,000 UR points on your regular spend that you can throw groceries and gas on through sign-up bonuses on business cards. So it softens the blow a little bit for the, I guess, slightly intermediate to slightly advanced credit card earner in this space. I don't necessarily think it is ruined the game. It has changed the game, because for most people, and legitimately most businesses that are just using like regular business spend, I don't know many businesses that are going crazy on trying to maximize earning multipliers unless that business happens to be part of the credit card community earning space. They may get a co-branded card for whatever hotel or airline of their choice, but for the most part, they're probably going to get a Blue Business Plus, Blue Business Cash, or whatever flat cashback card of their choice, because it's just simple. So I think with all the previous points mentioned, all the ways that Chase, Amex, Input Bank here is making how much money on interchange fees and business spend through people who were just funneling personal spend, myself included. I won't even lie on that. I think that well is still running and it is not dry yet. And they're going to keep going until things change. And then, yeah, the ink train will derail and then they'll start hammering down restrictions. But for right now, they're making too much money, and we, the credit card community, are still reaping the rewards while playing their game to their rules. So I don't see anything changing in the near future for that reason.
Yeah. To quote Gordon Gekko, greed, for lack of a better term, is good. Yeah, weird place to end that and end the podcast there. But yeah, let's go around the horn. And RJ, if folks wanted to find you on the internet, where would be the best place for that?
You can find me in the Stack Your Points Discord, and starting on October 1st, you can find me on YouTube at Do You Take Cards, because I will be back. I actually put together my October slate of videos, and I think they're pretty good. I'm happy with what I'm putting together. Now I just have to, write them and film them and edit them and upload them, which is less fun than the coming up with the ideas part.
So now that the strike is over, now we actually have to get back to work. Fair enough. Lani, where can we find you on the vast expanses of the internet?
By the time this episode posts, you can find me on the East Coast, actually. I'll be traveling again, and I'm not done yet, y'all. But if you don't catch me on the East Coast, you can catch me right here on YouTube at Call Me Lani. This is the channel name, all one word. Lani is spelled Lani. Is this a good time to talk about any special guests that might be coming in?
I think this would be a perfect opportunity.
This will be a perfect opportunity. I agree with you. So, because of my travels, my current travels, I won't be on next week's podcast. I will be out once again. Hate me if you want to, but I tried warning you. United had some great deals. Anyway, we will have filling in Key from Key Adventures to come in and share her expertise, her knowledge. I mean, if anyone knows anything about credit cards, she probably knows at least one or two things of 51 cards or something. I think she just got another card. Anyway, ask her next week. Put it in the comments that you want to ask Key a specific question. And she'll be on next week's episode filling in for me while I am out. I will be here in spirit. I will watch and all that other fun stuff. So I appreciate y'all, but I'm going to be with family and going to watch one of my oldest friends get married. So
Fantastic.
Can't be mad about that.
No. And if anyone's going to apply for a card, just hit a welcome offer. We'll see if Key applied for the new Virgin Red card.
She probably already has it.
Probably. They probably just gave it to her
More than
beforehand.
likely.
And finally, Tariq, if we were to look for you on the internet, where would be the best place to find you?
Well, you can find me taking PTO and probably doing a staycation because I want some necessary R&R. Mostly because there's a bye week coming up or there's a away game, so I won't be watching football at stadium. But aside from that, you can find me eventually posting videos, probably sooner than I expected, at Reeks Rewards. Once I kind of figure out the editing thing, I think I saw that YouTube channel for dummies at Barnes & Noble. I'm probably going to buy that book and read that so I can figure it out. Other than that, you can find me in the Stack Your Points Discord and finally pulling my head out of my behind and posting more on the Stack Your Points Instagram. That'll be linked below.
Can I just call out one last thing? Would it even be an episode if I didn't rat on Tariq at the end of the episode? But we started this off and he was full 9-to-5 professional. Glasses, tie, the collar was all buttoned up. And now he is laid back. Glasses are gone. The collar is flat. 2 buttons down. Tie is gone. It just like slowly declined through the episode. I just want to make sure everyone else noticed that this is the real Tariq. This is after the 9-to-5, the soon to be, Tariq, father of 2 kids and a mortgage, and still has to cook dinner when he gets home. Welcome to adulthood, bruh. Welcome to adulthood.
Look, I'm already testing out cooking when we get home with HelloFresh, and it's somewhat working, sometimes not. But that was supposed to be an Easter egg, but congratulations to the viewer. Lani pointed it out for you.
Look.
Nope. What makes it awkward is this section comes out on Wednesday. So this is the first section they're going to see.
It's really going to mess them up.
Leave that in for context or else no one will know what we're talking about.
I can't wait to see the comments and everything on the podcast chat and our Discord. What the hell was Tariq doing? Why did it start from fully dressed to like he just got off work and is like 3 beers down at the local bar?
Well, the best part though is we don't actually post the full episode on YouTube anymore. So you have to watch the basics, and then the Q&A, and then the main show out of order to actually see Tariq become more and more relaxed as we go on. So
That's
if you
how
do
we get you.
if you do that, then I'll give you a gold star on YouTube.
I will comment a gold star.
I will
Y'all have your
comment a
assignment for
gold
Monday.
star and a trophy
There you
from
go.
from Reeks Rewards. I'll even use it on my own channel to make sure that you're doing it.
I offer no prizes, but I look forward to y'all completing the assignment next Monday to give us all that activity in a row for the Easter egg that we've now mentioned.
And just
Finally,
a reminder,
Yep.
heating up a pizza does not count as cooking. It's just heating it up.
Absolutely. Yep. And y'all can find me on YouTube at Matt Clausen. I will be probably putting out some new news soon, as soon as I find something new to report on, and a couple more videos in the pipeline as well. But that'll do it for this episode of Stack Your Points. If you like what we do, hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube. If you really like what we do in audio form, please give us 5 stars on the podcatcher of your choice. It helps with discovery so that we can keep growing the audio podcast as well. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Talk to you soon.